I'm gonna make a bread pudding with raspberries and various berries from the forest and mountains. Some that are sweet, but some that also have an interesting hint of sourness and bitterness to them. As always with a bread pudding, you need bread. And you don't need fancy bread, good bread like this. This is fantastic bread from the baker in Lom. You can use almost any kind of bread, and it's actually an advantage if the bread is stale. It's much easier to work with. And I'm going to use half a loaf. And you don't need the crust, you just need what's inside. And when you've torn all the bread into small pieces, then it's time to add the cream. 2 cups, 5 deciliters of cream. And then mash the bread much as you would if you were making mashed potatoes. And when it comes to adding sugar, you've got to make a decision. What do you want to emphasize? Do you want to emphasize freshness or sweetness? And for me, freshness is always the most important thing. So I'm quite restrictive on how much sugar I add. This is about half a cup of brown sugar. But sweetness is something you can get from various sources. It doesn't have to be sweet as in sugar. It can be sweet as in sweet aromas. And that's what you get from vanilla. So I'm going to add the seeds from half a fat vanilla bean like this. And then I'm going to add 4 eggs. And in order to get some texture into the pudding, I'm going to add some nuts. The best way to treat nuts is to gently put them on a linen bed and then brutally smash them. This is just how I like them. Unevenly crushed. Then I line an oven-proof dish with raspberries. These are small, wild and intensely sweet raspberries. You can also use normal raspberries. And then I add the bread pudding batter. Make sure to fill the oven-proof dish almost up, and then comes the interesting part, adding some other berries like lingonberries that are a bit like cranberries but intensely sour, and then red currants, which have a wonderful balance between tartness and sweetness, and wild blueberries, shocking in color and incredibly satisfying taste. If you want, you can use some of the more peculiar berries like crowberries that look a bit like blueberries, but they taste quite different. They're not as sweet. They have a little hint of bitterness to them, and that's really quite interesting in a dessert. Now I pop it in the oven at 175 Celsius, 350 Fahrenheit for about half an hour. And you can check that it's done by